Hi, this is Jamie McMillan. I'm doing a video series on non-textbook math resources that I've used in my homeschool. And right now I'm going to talk about some ones that we used when my kids were much smaller. And I think my oldest was like 8 when I started doing these. And they are from Scholastic. And I love these books. And I think I got them from one of those teacher supply stores. And even though they're for teachers and they're reproducible, I think they have such a nice variety that it's well worth it for you to check them out. So these teach the basic math, computation, arithmetic things, adding, subtracting, multiplying, decimals. But you can pick a type of book that would fit your kid's learning style best. First one, when my oldest was first starting fractions, he hated them. He was doing them in a textbook. I think it was the Math U.C. textbook, which I like. I think it was a good textbook, especially with the manipulatives, but he was not getting fractions at all. It just didn't make any sense to him at all. So I put that away, and I found this book at Scholastic, and it approaches fractions from all the different learning styles. So kinesthetic, auditory, musical, there was art. So a lot of hands-on activities and games. And we did this for about a month. And by the end of the month, my son was saying how much he liked fractions and how fractions are easy. I can't believe I ever had the hard time. I'm really good at fractions. So it was really good to hear that. And we had a lot of fun doing these. It does take some preparation work, all of these books, between printing them out and making the manipulatives and the things that go with it. It takes some time, so you have to be ready. And this is another one we did all the time. All my kids loved this. And again, it's a lot of prep work. You have to be willing to go into the copy store and do some coloring in and laminating if you want to. Here's what some of mine look like. This is when it's good to save materials, save cardboard and cereal boxes and save beans and all kinds of things for using for counters. But these are fun little games. This was one of my kids' favorites, wolves and coyotes. This one's with fractions. Yeah, so they enjoyed this one. The next one, we did this one later when they were a little bit older, mental math, and the idea behind this is you, the teacher, their parent, you give them just a quick 10 questions out loud and they answer them on their answer sheet. They're not supposed to try to do any work, it's just in their head, mental math like it says. And it starts, it's progressive, so you see it goes through grades 4 through 8, it starts easier, and then as it goes through, it becomes harder. So you can pick the level that your child is at. And so I didn't need to photocopy these, I just read them straight out of the book. But I did photocopy the answer sheets for them. So every week they would get a fresh answer sheet. This would be a blank one. And then on Monday we would do Monday's problems, Tuesday, and so on. And my boys especially liked this because they competed with each other. So I would give them the same question and they would race to see who did it first. My daughter, who did it later by herself, she wasn't so enamored. So this was not her favorite. But it worked for them because they're very competitive. And here's another one that my boys liked, especially because they were big fans of the Guinness Book of World Records, all the amazing facts, the world's tallest man and the longest river and those kind of things. They got a kick out of it. So that's when I found this in the store. I thought, ooh, they might like it. And they did. And these, they're reproducible, but since I figured I'd only be using them once, I just tore them out. And I would cut open or cut these apart into rectangles and just hand them to my boys. And they each would do one card. They didn't want to duplicate each other's because then they would see each other's answers anyway. So they each got their own unique card and just figured out the answer. A lot of times they didn't even have to write it down. They just figured out the answer. And they thought it was fun. Yeah, so once again, I do recommend, I don't know if you can get these online. Now, probably nowadays you can. But in the time, I went to one of those teacher supply stores to get them. And I love them. And of course, they also have those Scholastic warehouse sales. If you get on the mailing list, those are a lot of fun. And I highly recommend them.